and see if we can get a few more people on, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So just hang tight with us, and then we'll get started in just a couple minutes. Okay. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks everybody for joining us today. I am Amanda Hancock on behalf of Brecky Tours, and Dean is on as well from Hertogrutten. Dean, if you want to say hi. Dean, did I lose you?
Yeah. Good afternoon. This is Dean Lotus with Hertogrutten, and we're happy to be with you today. And so I'm calling in from Minneapolis, where there's a bit of snow on the ground, so it's looking a little bit like Norway. And it's about 40 degrees out, so it's actually nice out there today. And I checked with Norway earlier today, and they were having about the same weather up and around Oslo. So anyway, so I'll turn it back over to Amanda, and we'll tell you a little bit more about Hertogrutten a bit later. But for right now, Amanda will give you the Brecky tour story. And just one thing before she does start, I want to say that we're very proud of our association with Brecky Tours. They are one of our top travel companies in the entire world, and especially North America. And they're literally one of the best. It's a pleasure to work with them and their professional staff, both in North Dakota as well as in the great state of Oklahoma, where Amanda's calling in from. So Amanda, take it away, and look forward to talking with you just a few moments later. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dean. So again, welcome everybody. I just want to do a little housekeeping before we get started. We do have a chat box down in the bottom left-hand corner. So if you have any questions, please feel free to type those in. It looks like somebody is having some problem with some sound. If you guys are having problems with that, please let us know. You might want to check your speakers, make sure that those are on and functioning, because we should have sound, and you should be seeing a nice pretty picture of a dock there in Scandinavia. So if for some reason something is not working, we are recording, and so we'll be able to see this a little bit later, and we'll send out a link to the presentation that you can review at any time that you might want to. All right, well, let's get started. Again, my name is Amanda. I'm with Brecky Tours and Travel. And so the idea that we wanted to have this webinar was to give some of our previous clients and maybe some new clients a look ahead at what's going to happen this summer, what new experiences you can expect when traveling on a Brecky tour. So we have some new tour itineraries and several revised itineraries, and some that we've just kind of tweaked here and there just to help provide a truly unforgettable tour of Scandinavia. So 2016 is really a special year for us here at Brecky Tours. We are celebrating our 60th anniversary. So it was 60 years ago that Arne Brecky, our owner, began conducting summer tours back to his homeland in Norway. And although he may not have had a clear business plan back then, the goal has always been the same, and that is to strengthen cultural and ethnic ties between America and Scandinavia through meaningful travel experiences. And so one of the ways we do this is we create new tours based on client feedback, new ideas, new destinations. And so we have three new tours for 2016. The first of which is Springtime in Norway. The second is Land of the Midnight Sun. And the third is Norway's Family Adventure. So we'll just hop right into Springtime in Norway. And if you haven't been to Norway during the springtime, it really is a wonderful time to visit. And especially in 2016, it's going to be even more exciting because not only will you get to experience all the wonderful fruit blossoms like you see in the picture on the left, but we'll also be spending May 17th in Sarpsborg. And now Sarpsborg is Grand Forks, which is our hometown. It's our sister city. And so they are hosting a year-long celebration marking their 1000th anniversary. And so we're trying to get some people from Grand Forks and just all over the United States to go to Sarpsborg, celebrate with a bunch of Norwegians and from people all over the world, because it's not every day that you can step into a town that's been around for 1,000 years. And so while Salzburg may be celebrating 1,000 years this year, its history actually dates back much further. And settlements at the site were actually around for about 7,000 years before Sarpsborg was founded. And it was founded by King Olaf as he was sailing up the River Glomma in the year 1016. He was stopped by a massive waterfall, which is the Sarpsfossen, and he chose the site as his capital. And while it's no longer the capital following his death, Sarpsborg is still one of Norway's 10 largest towns. So we're going to visit there. We're going to spend 3 nights in Sarpsborg, and we're also going to have an excursion out to the surrounding area. We're going to visit Fredrikstad Fortress. So construction on the fortress began in 1661 after Norway lost the Bohus Fortress to Sweden in 1658. So 3 subsequent attacks by the Swedes on Halden, which is a nearby town, convinced King Frederick III, he was the king of Denmark and Norway at the time, that a strong modern fortress was needed. And so during the war, so they built this fortress, and during the War of 1718, the Swedish king, Karl, he actually fell before this Fredrikstad fortress. It's never been overtaken. So it's quite a modern feat back in that day. So this is a 10-day tour. We're going to begin in Sarpsborg. Again, like I said, we're going to spend 3 nights there. We're going to spend May 17th there. You'll have food, music, and festivities celebrating the once-in-a-lifetime event of being in Sarpsborg, 1,000 years, May 17th. It should be a lot of fun. We'll then drive to Oslo, where we'll visit the sites around the city, such as the Viking Ship Museum and Vigeland Park. The next day, we'll begin our way across Norway to the fjord country, and we'll visit the Hardanger region, which is famous for its cherry, apple, and pear orchards. And this is where you're going to get all those fragrant, beautiful fruit blossoms. Our final destination is Bergen, where we'll have a sightseeing tour and some free time to explore before heading home on May 23rd. So some of the experiences that are included in this tour include, of course, the celebration of May 17th in Sarpsborg. That's going to be a big one. You'll also get to tour Fredrikstad Fortress and Borgenstave Church. We'll cruise the Ireland Fjord and the Narøy Fjord. You'll spend a relaxing evening overlooking the Sør Fjord at the charming Ullensvang Hotel. Of course, all the flowers and the fruit blossoms are in the countryside. It's just going to be a really pretty time of year to visit. And how many times are you going to get to say that you spent May 17th in 1,000-year-old Sarpsborg? Probably not ever again. So it really is a special tour for this year. So Norway is known as the land of the midnight sun due to its almost 24 hours of daylight northern Norway sees during the summer months. And on this exclusive tour for 2016, you'll experience the midnight sun and a lot more as you travel from Trondheim to the Lofoten Islands and then finally to Tromsø, which is known as the Paris of the North. So in the old days, large parts of northern Norway were inaccessible. But today there's an extensive network of both roads and small airports between many of the small towns and villages. Hurtigruten, which we'll hear about later, also makes stops along the coast at least once per day, so it's easier now to get up to the northern reaches of Norway. On this 13-day land tour, you'll travel north of the Arctic Circle and we'll learn a little bit more about northern Norway's rich history, including the German occupation of Norway during World War II. We'll get to spend a full day exploring the Lofoten Islands, and I'm sure you've all heard the Lofoten Islands are renowned all over for their spectacular beauty, but it also has a strong connection to the Viking Age. We're going to visit the Viking Museum, where you can experience the Viking Age as it really was. So at Borg, which is where the Viking Museum is, archaeologists actually discovered one of the largest Viking longhouses that was ever found from this era. The building is 272 feet long, and it's been reconstructed and is now a living museum. So it's really is a true piece of living history. So of course, fishing has been and still is to a degree the reason why many people have lived here. And the region is known for its many small fishing villages and the iconic red rorbu. So and we'll of course get to see those as we travel along. So, and just to kind of give you an overview of what other things that we'll get to see, we're going to spend 2 nights in Trondheim, and then we'll travel north along the western coast of Norway, past Stiklestad, Namsos, and Mo i Rana. It's near here that we'll actually cross over the Arctic Circle, and this marks the boundary of the midnight sun of the Arctic summer and the sunless winters of the north. So, if you were to go to this area right now, you wouldn't see a whole lot of daylight. So, but during the summer, it's almost 24 hours. So this is the northernmost extent of several species of flora and fauna, and it's limited by the Arctic climate and a mountain range. So the Arctic Circle Center in Lonsdalen, which we'll visit, provides a visual presentation of the flora, fauna, and countryside that you'll see north of the Arctic Circle. So as we make our way further north, we'll spend a day, of course, in the Lofoten Islands. After a full day here, we'll continue north to Narvik, where we'll tour the World War II Museum and the North Norway Boat Museum before we arrive at the Arctic capital of Tromsø. Now, Tromsø's skyline is highlighted by the Arctic Cathedral, which was built in 1965, and it was inspired by Arctic nature. And if you've ever been there, the Return of Christ glass mosaic window is just beautiful, and it dominates the interior. So after 2 nights in Tromsø, it's time to say goodbye to Northern Norway, and we're going to board our flight back for home. So this is really a unique tour that gives you the opportunity to explore a place few outsiders to Norway get to. This fantastic setting in the Lofoten Islands. You'll also get to see the Nidaros Cathedral in Trondheim, Stiklestad, and the Arctic Cathedral in Tromsø. You'll also learn more about the German occupation of Norway during World War II throughout this tour. And a visit to the Polar Park is something that we're kind of highlighting this year because you can sign up to receive a wolf kiss. And so that's a lot of fun. Some of our folks in the office have gotten to experience that, and they said it's one of their best memories of Northern Norway. So now, just to note about this tour, we only have 4 spaces left, so if this is something that you are thinking about doing, it's a good idea to sign up sooner rather than later, just because we've only got the 2 rooms left. It's a pretty popular tour for next year just because it is so unique. It's great for the people that have maybe been to Norway before and would like to experience something a little bit different. So our final new tour for 2016 is Norway's Family Adventure. And this tour was designed with families in mind and was created to be more of a multi-generational tour. So you can have grandparents and parents introducing their children to their Norwegian heritage. So we also wanted to include a little bit of fun. Of course, we're traveling with children, and they are the focus of the tour. So we included a 3-hour rafting adventure in Voss, as well as a visit to the Hunderfossen amusement park in Øyer. So another exciting stop that we're going to do is to the tiny village of Underdal. So it's got about 80 people and 500 goats. So the goats outnumber the people quite a bit. So we'll learn about the traditions of cheese making here, which is what Underdal is famous for. We'll listen to folk tales and folk songs and even sample some of the locally produced cheese. So it should be a lot of fun. So for an overview of this tour, we're going to start out in Bergen. We're going to have a nice walking tour of the Hanseatic War before we head over to Voss, and this is where we'll join the rafting adventure on the Vosso River. From there, we're going to board the Oslo-Bergen Railway and ride to Myrdal. And here we'll board the famous Flom Railway, and we'll descend 2,800 feet within 13 miles to the Flom Valley. So we're going to have a full day in Flom. So you can spend that hiking, biking, kayaking, taking your children out to the fjord. You can go fishing. There's so many activities to do right in that little area. After that, we're going to head to Fagernes, and we're going to visit the Borgen Stave Church, which is one of the best preserved of the remaining churches in Norway. So, and day 7 is the day that, is great for kids of all ages. So we're going to spend the day at Hernfossen Family Park, guarded by a 45-foot tall troll. It contains a treasure of Norwegian folk stories and tales. And so you can meet princes and kings and queens and trolls and all sorts of folk characters here at the park. So we'll continue our tour next day as we drive to Lillehammer, and we're going to visit the site of the 1994 Winter Olympics, which you can see in that bottom middle picture. You can even take a ride up the ski lift and see what it looks like from the top down like this. So our final destination is Oslo, and that's where our tour ends on day 10. Highlights of this tour include, of course, the family rafting adventure, as well as the day at Hunderfossen. You and your family will also enjoy a ride on the Flom Railway, fjord cruise, and sightseeing in Oslo and Bergen. So if you have family members that you'd like to introduce to Norway, this could be a great tour for you and your family. So in last year, we began offering small group tours for the first time. These tours were really designed for clients wishing to guarantee that they're traveling with a fewer amount of people. So for this year, we decided to offer them again, and so we've made some improvements, and we've included some new destinations and experiences. So I just kind of wanted to touch on that just briefly. The first one is Taste of Sweden and Norway, and we have 2 departures for this tour. And the main change for this tour for 2016 is that we are now starting in Stockholm and ending in Bergen. So we basically just flip-flopped the itinerary. We did keep many of the highlights of this tour, including a visit to the Vasa Ship Museum in Stockholm. We're going to include a walk through the Uppsala Cathedral. We're going to tour the home of Carl Larsson, visit the Dala Horse Center. We're going to drive through the Värmland province of Sweden. Of course, we'll get to experience the Norway in the nutshell, and we'll have city sightseeing in Stockholm, Oslo, and Bergen. Fabulous Fjords. This actually wasn't a small group tour for last year, but we decided to make it one for this year. We also added a couple of days to allow even more time in Norway's fjord country. We also added a visit to Ålesund, which is, of course, famous for its Art Nouveau architecture. And this tour is really ideal for those that wish to experience as many of Norway's fjords as possible in a short amount of time. It's now a 13-day tour and includes visits to 6 fjords and includes 5 nights in fjordside hotels, including 2 nights at the Union Hotel in Geiranger, 1 night at the Ullensvang Hotel near Lofthus, which is in the Hardanger region, and then 2 nights at the Solstrand Hotel, which is just south of Bergen in Ås, and it's situated right along the Bjørnafjord. So if this is something that you would like to experience and maybe wake up to some of these sites that you see on the screen, then this is a tour for you. And finally, Norwegian Adventure. It's another small group tour that we tweaked for 2016 just to make it a little bit better. So this year we're going to start in Bergen instead of Oslo, and we're going to travel north through the fjord country up to Loen and Ålesund. We'll then cruise the fjords, visit the Norwegian Fjord Horse Center, and ride the Flom Railway as we're traveling north. On the trip south, we'll drive through the historic Gudbrandsdal Valley and enjoy lunch at a local farm. We'll continue on through Lillehammer, We'll tour the Glass Cathedral in Hamar and view the sites of the 1994 Winter Olympics. Our last 2 nights are in Oslo, where the group will visit the Oslo Opera House, Vigeland Sculpture Park, Viking Ship Museum, and the Norwegian Folk Museum. We also made some slight changes to 2 of our other group tours for 2016, Captivating Scandinavia and Norway Scenic and Historic. So for Captivating, we added an additional night in Bergen, bringing the total of the tour up to 14 days. And this is really a great tour if you want to experience Norway, Sweden, and Denmark all at one time. Some of the sites you'll get to see include we're going to have dinner at Tivoli Gardens. We're going to tour Frederiksborg Castle outside of Copenhagen. We'll have a night in this Swedish manor house. And we're going to visit Costa Boda for a Hitstill evening. And sorry about that. My slides just decided to go crazy. Okay, let's see. Next is Norway Scenic and Historic, and personally, this is my favorite tour of Norway. So it's a great educational tour, but you'll also get to enjoy a variety of Norway's scenery. Visiting Røros, you'll also have a chance to attend the St. Olaf Festival in Trondheim, which really makes this tour unique. And for 2016, we also added reverse itinerary, so that we're starting in Oslo rather than Bergen. So we also added a night, which gives you a little bit more time in Bergen to explore this historic city. We do have several other tours for 2016, including 2 departures for Spectacular Norway and there it goes again. Spectacular Norway and Best of Norway. And then we have a departure for Splendor of Norway. We also have a heritage tour, which includes an in-depth visit to the Sogn, Vos, and Valdres regions of Norway. And finally, we have a feature tour to Iceland, which is we have partners with one of our partners in Iceland. And this is a great around Iceland tour, which travels round trip from Reykjavik on the Ring Road. So if you are interested in any one of our escorted tours in 2016, we're currently offering a discount on select tours. You can save $150 per couple when you register using promo code NEW2016 by February 19th. And the available tours are Springtime in Norway, Taste of Sweden and Norway, Tour B, Norway's Fabulous Fjords, and Norwegian Adventure. So if you need more information, you can request our brochure. You can do that online on our website at www.brecky.breckytours.com. You can email us or give us a call. So now I'm going to turn this over to Dean before we take your questions. So Dean, let me get you over here. Dean, are you still there? Dean, can you hear me? Oh, did I lose Dean? Okay, sorry about this, guys. Trying to get Dean over here. You can hang on just 1 second. We'll see what's going on. Okay, sorry about that, guys. It looks like we lost Dean for just a minute. I'm going to try to get him back. In the meantime, somebody had asked about the Songvos tour, and so I'll go back to that slide in just a second. Oh, there we go. So this is a really great tour if you have family heritage in one of these three regions. It's really a specialized tour. You're going to travel with a genealogist, Jean Marthaler. She's worked with us for many years, and she does a lot of I guess pre-tour work. So if you have some information that you've already learned about your family, we'll get you in touch with her, and she can do a little bit of research, additional research, and so she can find living relatives where your family farm may be. And then we can try to make arrangements to actually get you out to your farm while you're on this tour. We do have a little bit more free time on this tour, which allows for that sort of thing. And it's also usually a smaller group. This typically it ranges from 10 to 20 people. So you're really in with the group of people that Norway is their heritage. They know where they've come from. They're really connected to Norway. So it's kind of a fascinating tour. And like I said, it is a lot more customized than some of our other tours, just because we do allow for that extra time where you can go and visit family heritage sites. So if that's something that you're really interested in, I would recommend actually giving our office a call, and we put you in touch with Jean and see if that might be something that would work for you, if this type of tour would be great. Otherwise, we can talk to you about some of our other tours because we can customize our other tours as well to include visits to family heritage sites. If you have family heritage from, say, the Stavanger region, you might want to take our Best of Norway tour, which ends in Stavanger, and then go out and visit those family heritage sites on your own afterward, through a rental car or if you have family in that area. We've seen so many times where um, relatives will come and meet their American family and, take them out to the farm. They are so excited to reconnect with, long lost relatives that they may not know. So it's really special. This tour is really special. We've been running it for several years now, this heritage tour. So, and everybody just really seems to enjoy it. Um, so if that's something that you're interested in, definitely give us a call and we can fill you in a little bit more about it. Dean, are you back? Dean? Well, I thought he was back. Dean, are you there?
Amanda, I understand I'm now been unmuted.
Oh, there you go.
Am I good?
You
All
are
right,
coming
thank you
through
ever so
now.
much. All right, Amanda, if you'd like to, excellent. If you'd like to turn the screen over to me, I will go ahead and get my PowerPoint
I
started,
can do
and
that. Yeah.
we will tell you a little bit about Hurtigruten and about what makes us special. And you should see a screen up here that says Vikings and Voyages.
Well, Dean, it won't let me turn my screen over to you. Are you
Well,
dialed
that's
in
not
again
it.
via the phone?
I dialed in again via the phone, but I still see your screen.
Yes.
So you should be able to turn your screen over to me.
If it will let me, I will be glad to do that.
Okay, do you see where it says Dean anywhere?
Are you, well, it says that you're here. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I found it. I apologize, folks. It's been one of those weeks. Yes.
So what do you see on your screen now?
Are you?
I'm still looking at you playing with your screen.
Okay. It says I need to stop moving my mouse.
Okay, I see
So
that
you should have
too.
control.
And I see end sharing, so I'm just going to do that.
Okay.
And
Okay. Click on
let's
desktop.
see. Okay, do you see where it says? Okay, do you see Vikings and Voyages?
No. I see desktop. Well, I see presentation, whiteboard, desktop, YouTube, and polls. So you should click on desktop.
Okay, I should go back to desktop. Looks like it applies. Okay. I don't see desktop. I see display. Let's see, we can go here. I see new in Scandinavia. Upload from my computer. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this looks like it's probably not going to work. So let me tell you a little bit about her to get about what we do. Unfortunately, we won't be able to see the pictures, but our business are very unique. That we offer sailing 7 days a week, 365 days a year, sailing from Bergen, going up north to the town of Kirkenes. And we like to say that we operate voyages, that our voyages are actually purposeful, that we go into places where the big ships can't go. For 122 years, we've been the lifeline of Norway. We actually trace history back to 422 years when Captain Richard Witt, or as they say in Norway, Richard Witt, actually began taking folks up the coast. And so we've been in continuous operation for about 422 years. We actually visit 34 ports of call going up along the route. Some of these ports of call are as long as 6 hours, others are as short as 30 minutes. And what's very unique is that we actually have shore excursions where you can actually get off in one port, go inland for the day, and catch your ship later in the day. And so this way it gives you the beautiful opportunity to see not only the coastline, but the interior of the country. And so that's an extra dimension that you will not find with any other line operating virtually anywhere within Europe. And also going north from Bergen, we're going to be going up into the town of Ålesund, or Allison, as some people prefer to pronounce it. This is the gateway to the fjord country. So in the summer months, we go into the Geiranger Fjord, and the Geiranger is to Norway what Glacier Bay is to Alaska. Essential experience. You actually see the waterfalls coming up the mountains. You actually hear them. You can feel the spray of the water. You smell the fresh air, and chances are you've had a wonderful meal. So also none of those senses come alive. And in the fall months, we visit a place called Fjord. And Fjord is a bit unique. It's actually one of my favorite fjords, and it's a very deep fjord with an area at the end that we can actually take a drive and actually hit the upper reaches of where the glacial ice actually came down. Interesting question I had there is that there was a lady on a tour bus this past fall, which I was on, and she saw these neat little houses with the sod roofs, and she asked me, she said, Dean, how do the people trim these roofs? Because they're sod roofs. And I couldn't resist the opportunity to say, well, there's a company called Sten's Roof Trimming Service, and they have sheep that will actually come and actually trim your roof. She actually believed me. She was also the same one that asked me if the sheep got soggy. So you have to watch out for these tall stories here and there. But then going north from Geiranger, we then go up into the city of Trondheim. And Trondheim is the country's second largest city. You have the Nidaros Cathedral here. And it's a beautiful Gothic cathedral. I think Amanda showed some images of that wonderful church. St. Olaf is buried here, and there's also the Ringby Museum, which is a classical musical museum. There's beautiful instruments that are shown. And then going north from Trondheim, we hug the coastline. We stay back in sheltered waters. We're going in and out of small fjords. Then we get up into the town of Buda, and it's actually spelled B-O-D-O, but it's actually pronounced Buda. And this is where you have the highest tidal changes in all of Europe. And we have an opportunity to go out in rigid inflatable boats, which are a lot like a Zodiac, but actually a bit bigger, and they actually have seats. And you go out and you experience the tidal surge. And this is a little like whitewater rafting. You put into a nice waterproof suit with a nice wool hat, and you get to have an exhilarating ride. Or if that's not your fancy, there's also a beautiful concert hall here. And there's also a great aviation museum. And then getting out into the Lofoten Islands, this is where Viking history really comes alive, where you have the Viking Longhouse, and we also have a shore excursion that operates from Stamson over to Slovere, and you visit the Viking Longhouse. You have a typical Viking meal. People will come out in period costume, and you even get to have a shot of mead. And then we go up to Tromsø, where we have the Arctic Cathedral, which you also saw in the in Amanda's portion. And we also have, in the wintertime, we actually have dog sledding here. And during the summer months, we have one of the most unique shore excursions that I've ever seen anywhere in the world, where those dogs that do the dog sledding, they need to have a job in the summer months. The dog, and you take a walk up in the hills, about 4 kilometers long. It's a wonderful experience. It's a nice, easy walk, and the dogs have a great time. And I'll tell you, the guests have an absolutely splendid time walking with these wonderful animals. And then from Tromsø, we then head up to Hammerfest and then up to Honningsvåg. And at Honningsvåg, this is where the North Cape is located. This is the northernmost point on the European continent. There's a beautiful visitor center there, and at the very end of the continent, there's a metal globe, and you are on a cliff, literally 1,000 feet above the Arctic Ocean, and you overlook this beautiful scene. And there's really nothing between you and the North Pole. So it is a wonderful experience, a wonderful scene, and I really wish I could show my photos because it is fantastic. It's probably one of those pleasant scenes that you'll find anywhere in Norway. And then you come down to the city of Kirkenes, or as the Norwegians would say, Kirkenes. Here you're only 6 miles from the Russian border, and you're actually further east than Istanbul. And you can either cruise back southbound, or you can then and visit the ports that you missed on the way up due to nightfall, or you can fly back down to Oslo. And of course, the folks at Brecky can add on different hotel packages before and after the cruise, and so this will add to the overall experience. So there's really just one of the major components within the Brecky tour program. And so together we deliver what we believe is the best cruise and tour combination that is available. And I should mention too that we currently have a 5-day sale going on. And so if you were to contact Brecky Tours and you want to take the cruise, if it's 5 nights or longer, you would actually receive a 10% discount. And this 5-day sale actually be on for actually the next 6 days that it just started. And so we allow a day's cushion at either end. And so this way you'll be able to take advantage of that savings. So again, I apologize for our technical glitch here, but I do want to thank you all for coming out this afternoon. And if any of you have questions, simply type those in, and Amanda and I will be very happy to address them. So Amanda, thank you very much. And folks, again, as I say in my country, tusen takk, or 1,000 thanks.
All right, thanks, Dean. I did want to mention that Hurtigruten does have a new cruise this year, don't you guys? With the new tour itinerary, or cruise itinerary, I guess I should say.
Oh yeah, actually, we have a new ship. It's called the MS Spitsbergen, and she will sail on a 12-day itinerary from Bergen to Kirkenes back down to Oslo. This is our product is selling extremely well, so there's just a little bit of space left. Again, it is the full 12 days, and while we still make all of the ports, we're only going to be visiting ports during the day. And it'll have an expedition type format, so there'll be onboard lecturers, so that you'll learn a little bit more about Norway than you might with any other product. So this is new to us. It is a full 12-day trip, and again, we'll be visiting Fjord and all of the towns up and down, and you'll have the entire choice of shore excursions. The only major key difference is that we're only making 4 calls during the day, and there is no local traffic on this ship. So the people that join in Bergen will be with you all the way through the entire itinerary.
Thanks. I know we've had quite a few people ask about that tour, and of course it's our cruise. I keep saying tour. It is a cruise, and so it sounds like it ought to be a lot of fun. Of course, I mean just the old-fashioned coastal steamer, route is a lot of fun too. But for those really looking for that American-style cruise experience, I guess it's a great that's a great option for them.
Yeah, this is a bit more of a traditional cruise type experience. And one thing that I will mention too is that aboard any of your ships, we do not have floor shows and we do not have casinos. So we don't have those things that are sometimes closely associated with a cruise. But what we do offer is something that very few companies actually have, and that is the destination experience. You're going to see more of Norway in 6 or 7 days than most Norwegians will in an entire lifetime. Because you're going to be starting in the south, you're going to be seeing the fjords, the small towns, the places of history, the fjords, and so everything really comes alive. So we are a true destination experience. You know, Amanda, there's one other place in Norway that you missed I didn't mention, and this is an area known as Spitsbergen. Spitsbergen is an archipelago of different islands that are halfway between the coast of Norway and the North Pole. Now, Amanda, do you know what makes Spitsbergen famous?
I'm gonna go with polar bears.
You are exactly right. There are over 3,500 polar bears living on these islands. I was talking with our head expedition leader, her name's Karen Brand, this past week, and she told me that in 2015 they had a 100% sighting of polar bears on every sailing going around Spitsbergen.
Wow.
Seeing a polar bear in the wild, that's, talk about a bucket list item, that would be pretty much tops. You know, you can go to places like Antarctica and see a penguin, but everybody sees a penguin. So when you go to a place like Spitsbergen and also in the Svalbard, you stand an excellent chance of seeing polar bears. You'll see other wildlife there as well, such as walrus, possibly an Arctic fox or an Arctic wolf. But seeing that polar bear, I mean, this is the top of the food chain. So it is a wonderful experience, and can't say it better. So with Norway, we've got a lot of diversity, we've got a lot of history, and also the ability to connect with families, and that's what makes History Written and Becky Tours in Norway such a special place, because that history and that culture is still very much alive. So
Yes.
I'll relax and turn that back over to questions.
All right. Well, if anybody has any questions, again, there's a chat box down in the bottom left-hand corner. Feel free to type those questions in now. We did have a couple questions that came in over the registration form. So somebody had asked if, how they could get help in deciding on a tour. And so some of the factors that we typically ask, we kind of ask questions and get a feel for people when we're talking to them. First off is, where do you want to visit? Do you want to visit Trondheim? Do you want to visit Stavanger? Do you want to visit, what places are on your bucket list or your must-see list? So, and kind of going with that is, what experiences do you want to have? Do you want to have a farm dinner? Do you want to hike Pulpit Rock? Those sort of things, because that will kind of help us narrow down the choices so we can recommend a tour for you. Of course, travel dates, when and how long you're going to be able to take off if you work, that sort of thing is always important. And group size. A lot of people, nowadays, they don't want to travel with 2 busloads of people. I can completely understand that. And so if you are comfortable with traveling with, if you prefer to have a smaller group, then we might recommend a small group tour for you. If you are kind of open to making friends wherever you go, then really you're open up to any of our tours. So it's really kind of your choice. Um, the best way to get help is to just give us a call and talk to one of our agents in the office. We can, sit down with you and ask questions, kind of get a feel for what you are wanting, and then maybe make some recommendations. So, and if none of them work, then we'll create a customized tour for you. We do that as well, so it's not a problem. That's why we're here. And somebody had asked about the Song Vos tour and how it differs from the other tours. And somebody else had asked the same thing on here, Lana. I hope I was able to answer that question for you. If there's any other questions, please feel free to ask. Dean's on here too to answer any questions about Hurtigruten that you may have. What shore excursions are available or whatever. So.
Amanda, you might want to give your 800 number again so that folks can call in.
All right. So if anybody wants to give us a call, there is our number on screen. It's 800-437-5302. Right under that, you'll see our email address. And of course, under that is our website. You'll find a lot of information about our tours, available cruises, anything like that, independent packages that you may want to look at online. And of course, feel free to give us a call. I mean, we love talking to people. We love sharing our love of travel. So um, we certainly don't mind helping you make plans. It doesn't look like we have any more questions. So unless something just pops in, I guess we're just going to sign off and say thank you for everybody. And thanks, Dean, for joining us. And sorry we couldn't get the pictures from the Hurtigruten side working, the little technical difficulties. So, but we hope everybody had a good time and learned something. And Dean, I'll turn it over to you to finish it off.
Okay, well, once again, thank you very much for attending. And we hope to see you in Norway here in the 2016. And look forward to having you give the folks at Brekkie a call. They're wonderful folks to work with. They know the product. They've been aboard our ships. And it's been a very long and very lasting relationship. And so, again, I want to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out this afternoon to give us a call and allow us to share our special part of the world with you. Once you go to Norway, you never quite come back. You always have a little bit of Norwegian left in you. So, without further ado, I will sign off. Amanda, thank you very much. And
all right, well, thank you. And we did just have a
experience.
question pop in. So Gary had asked how much walking is involved on most tours, and it really there's not a whole lot of walking. Because a lot of times you're gonna, you'll get off the bus, you'll walk to a certain place, you might walk around in it, and then you get back on the bus and you'll go to the next destination. So there's really not too much. I would say maybe 30 minutes, at a time would probably be about the most. Some places might be a little longer if we are visiting, a museum or that sort of thing. But there's, of course, seats and benches and that sort of thing if you do need a rest. We've had plenty of people, go on our tours that are in their 70s, 80s, and they get around just fine. Our owner, he's 88, and he still goes on tours, so he takes his cane with him, and you would think that he's, not even. You wouldn't think that he was 88, believe me. But he gets out there and he walks along with everybody. So the only difficult thing is in some of the cities there are cobblestones. So that is something to watch out for. And I know I have stubbed my toe, I don't know how many times, because the door jambs are raised in Scandinavia, so I have to watch for that. But as far as just walking, not a lot of walking all at one time. So if that's something that you're worried about, it shouldn't be an issue. But if you just want a little more reassurance, if you have a particular tour in mind, I would recommend giving us a call. So, Dean, thanks again. Oh, go ahead.
I would say with respect to the shore excursions that are offered off the ship, it's pretty much the same thing. That but actually we list all of our shore excursions. There is an activity level that are rated 1 through 4. So a level 1 would be for someone that can only walk a short distance of that, and a level 4 would be something like kayaking that would not be as accessible. But again, we do that. The folks at Becky can actually give you a list of the shore excursions that you can participate, and also the activity level, which is key, because we want you to enjoy this trip and not be inconvenienced in any way, because nothing is worse than is wanting something and not being able to participate, or possibly being disappointed. So again, the folks at Becky can actually help you select those shore excursions, and many of them can be booked in advance. So this way you're assured of actually having the space, and that's a key ingredient as well. So again, we want you to have a wonderful time, and want you to come back and tell your friends and family that you traveled with Huckabitten, and that you had a wonderful experience, and to give Becky a call to make those continuing reservations. So once again, Tucson Talk, and Tucson Talk to you, Amanda, for a wonderful presentation this afternoon.
All right. Thanks, everybody, again for joining us, taking the time out of your day to listen to us talk about, our favorite destination. So it's always fun to talk about that. And I guess we will hopefully see you in Scandinavia this summer, and look forward to hearing from you. Thanks so much, everybody.